is going on? It's your boy Big Rob back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If it's your first time checking us out, we are an entertainment-focused cryptocurrency channel where we take the old, boring, and stale information and package it up in a fun and sexy way. Also, here at Sin City Crypto, we do have a co-host who is not with us at the moment. He is currently on the Wendy O Show. He'll be patching back in with us here shortly. So for the time being, if you are a fan of Rob and you love Rob, Big Rob, well, that's all you got right now. Well, actually, we also got the Rocco. We got the Don. Don, what's up, man? Where you at? You right there? Okay. Oh, you are?
Yeah,
there
right
you
here.
are. Man.
Nice to you.
Right.
Yes.
So, yeah, we're excited today. Big show, big pullback in crypto today, or actually last night. We are back in the $22,000 range. So kind of scary times, right? If we haven't seen a big pullback in a while, we've been trading in this little range for quite some time. And so maybe we'll be back down testing the 20K mark. Is this an overreaction from the Silvergate debacle? Basically, the liquidity provider, the on and off ramp of fiat for all of the major crypto exchanges is crashing hard. And Coinbase has moved on from Silvergate and switched over to Signature Bank. So what does that mean? It means, you know what, things behind the scenes are changing, but not that big a deal. One thing that is changing here is how many likes we got. So do us a favor. Let's get this thing started. Let's show some love to the chat. Show some love to Big Rob. So hit that like button. We would greatly appreciate it. And then we do got, we don't have too many new people in the chat just yet. We do have, let's see here, DJ Haas MS and Gary Burke. Other than that, it seems as the Weiss Tree, oh, he's been here before. Oh, Magic Internet Money is in the house as well. And to all of you, hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto. If you guys are a little panicked, put a 1 in the chat because we're at 22K. If it's not that big a deal and you've been here before and you know that this is just a very small pullback, put a 2 in the chat. I'm curious to see what you guys' sentiment is because you know how it is. Everyone always overreacts. We also got a guest visiting the studio. We got Crypto Billy. There is more than just the CB logo that you have seen in the chat. There is a face to this man. Very handsome. So thanks for joining us, Billy. It's always great having you here in studio. If you're going to be in the Las Vegas area and you want to come by and stop by, say hello. Our doors are always welcome as long as you're not a weirdo. We have to put that disclaimer out there because we came across one of those, and so now we have to thoroughly vet our guests before they join us. So real quick, we're going to take a look at some of the numbers while we get into it. Now, taking a look at Bitcoin, we coming in at $22,343. And so to see how we got here, you can see in the last, look at this 1 day chart, man. Massive liquidations. I know David's going to get into the liquidations on all the exchanges here in a little bit, but we fell dramatically over the course of 30 minutes. So that right there is not natural trading to the downside. That is forced liquidations. That is people leveraged up. Now we have settled in at 22.3. So to take a look at the 7 on the weekly chart here, you can see how we got here. We were over 23,000 all week, with the exception of a small little dip and rebound. And then taking a look at the 1 month, we not the only time we've been down in the last 30 days to under 22,000, or excuse me, under 23,000. So I'm curious to see, you know, if we can bounce back up to 23,000. And then taking a look at the 3 month, or actually the year to date, kind of the same thing here. You can see how we got here, and as you can see, you know, at the beginning of the year, 16,000. So we are still well over. I think it's about a 35% up from the beginning of the year. So we're in a good spot. Don't freak out. But What kind of numbers did we get in the chat? Let me check out here.
Oh, you call the graphic. Is there going to be a descending stair or somebody fall down the stairs? What do you call it?
For the graphics, this is what I like
No
to call.
stair.
No, hold on a second. I'm trying to find the back to my one day chart. Okay,
No
so
stairs. There's a cliff, right?
this is what I like to call the old slip on a banana right here. So patented move here is the slip on the banana to the downside here to the 22,000
From the ascending stairs.
Yeah,
with the
so you know, people getting crazy now. Taking a look at the broader markets there, or the rest of the crypto markets. We do have Ethereum under $1,600. This was a pivotal number here for quite some time. It likes 1,600. And so if Bitcoin doesn't bounce back up to 23,000, let's just say hypothetically we trade at 23,000 or 22,000, 21,000 for quite some time. It'll be interesting to see if Ethereum will hold a $1,500 support. I think the next major level will be about 1,200. So between 1,200 and 1,600, there's not a lot of places that Ethereum likes to hang out there. Some of the biggest gainers for the day, you got MakerDAO up 3%, Casper up 3%, EOS as well, and Immutable X not too much green, but there is a lot of downside. So you got DYDX down 13%, Conflux down 12%, NIM, also SingularityNet, Terra Luna Classic. Why are you even here? And then we got Stacks as well. So a lot of double-digit red here across the board, and you can see that the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, this is at a 50, right where it was before the downturn yesterday. So I think this is going to be the first time in over a month that we're going to be under the 50 mark, and so I think that the sentiment in the markets are switching a little bit, and there's a little bit more fear out here than there was a couple weeks ago. Then the more visual representation, you have the crypto bubbles, a lot of red across the board. And like we said, only a handful of projects in the green, MakerDAO, Casper. But if you take a look at the week, kind of the same story here. Stacks is still up 16% on the week. The whole ordinals craze, the NFTs that are being printed onto the Satoshis on the Bitcoin blockchain has given a renewed interest into the Stacks blockchain, which does facilitate smart contracts on the Bitcoin network via an Ethereum. So it's kind of a little hybrid of everything. And then lastly, we're taking a look at the stock market, which is in the green. So surprising that we're in a situation, because we know that Bitcoin and the NASDAQ have been pretty correlated. We've had some recent moves where one has not followed the other. Here's yet another example. NASDAQ up 1.6%, a nice healthy day for the stock market. However, the Bitcoin is down. I'm curious that if Bitcoin had not dumped last night, would we be testing the 25K mark today? So I do think that this is all due to what happened with Silvergate. And so with Silvergate, you had and then Rocco, my desktop thing needs to be refreshed, by the way.
Okay.
But with the Silvergate, you guys, you got to understand how big of an event this is. This is not some run-of-the-mill company. This is literally the bank. And just imagine if you had a company. Just imagine you have any kind of company out here. You're an entrepreneur. You're pretty big. You're like in Coinbase's situation. They are. With Coinbase situation, they're a publicly traded company, a massive company. So all these exchanges are huge, and yet their bank, because that's essentially what it is, their bank that they use is going under. That's essentially what happened. So just imagine you had $1 million company and the bank that you use is going under. That's where all your accounts are. That's who writes the checks for your own employees and all of this. And so there is a lot of other dominoes that are going to essentially fall from this as well. Because not only are they the liquidity providers for the exchanges, but they are also the liquidity provider or the custodial provider for stablecoins. So if you think of your Circle and your Tether, these companies, they keep their stablecoins backed by dollars. Well, where do they keep the dollars? They're not keeping it in the garage. They're keeping it in a bank. And the bank that they were using is either Signature Bank or Silvergate. And you were seeing that Circle removed all their money from Silvergate. So, this is gonna be very interesting. Now, on the one hand, if you're a Signature Bank, this is probably a good thing because your direct competitor, the other biggest bank in the space, is essentially closing up shop. And now we'll see how this environment pops up. I'm just curious to see what the regulators are going to say about all of this as well. Now, one other thing, we briefly talked about it yesterday. There is this little loophole. So Henry Hoover, back in the day, I don't know when he was president, but back in black and white TV day, he came out with the federal home loan program. And there was a market crash where house prices had fallen back in the Henry Hoover days, and he put out a program for banks to borrow from the government in a federal program that helps small home buyers get new houses. And it's basically an injection of liquidity to banks that offer loans. And so Signature Bank and also Silvergate, they were home loan lenders. And at some point, they switched over to facilitate crypto payments or facilitate crypto services. And now they still draw on the same programs that are designed to help the housing market. And last year, hear this out. Last year, Silvergate had borrowed $4 billion from the FHLA. And so you borrowed $4 billion, they're going to go under. They're not going to have to pay that back. So that is money that the U.S. government has set aside in a special program that is specifically supposed to be for homes and housing. And we see that the housing market is in a tough spot right now. We're seeing the 30-year average mortgage jump up to 7.1%, a number we haven't seen in over 4 months. And we're gonna, we got the likes of Elizabeth Warren and other individuals coming out and saying, hey, crypto is being used for money laundering. It can't integrate with the financial system. And now we have one of the biggest banks in the world, or biggest banks here in the U.S., one of the biggest in the crypto, one that has borrowed money for home for the home programs and is using it to clear out debt in crypto for their mismanagement. And I know where this is going. And it's going to a spot where regulators are going to point the finger at crypto and say, crypto, you're messing up our home programs. And honestly, I kind of agree with it. Here's the thing: if you got money set aside for housing development, and all of a sudden a crypto bank goes under and takes a large proportion of that money, that ain't right, man. First of all, I don't know, man. I'm just saying that there is a lot going on here. So now we got Forrest patched in here. It is Forrest Friday, one of our favorite days of the week. And then I think David will be on here in just a second as well. But while we get David prepared, why don't we bring in Forrest and get him on here? My dude! You got to mute it, Rocco.
Good to see you.
He's muted. Hello?
How about now? Am I good now?
Yeah, you're good now. You're good. What's up, my man?
What's up, man?
Chilling. Happy Forest Friday. And are you nervous? Yeah. Bitcoin is dumping, man. I got a couple text messages last night. People are like, "What's going on with Bitcoin?" I'm like,
"Did you ask Forrest if he's nervous?"
Is that my boy,
Bro,
Dave?
the man's a beast, bro. You think does this look like a man who gets nervous?
Maybe
So-
he's closet nervous.
Hey, put some respect on my friend's name. Forrest, what's up, man? Sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No. Yeah, I mean, so far the S&P 500 has defended that support level we were talking about around 4,000. It's ripping in the last 2 days, which is a really good sign. I did like a real extensive video last night, just kind of laying out all the data. And if we get into the charts today, I want to take a dive into some of the data that would suggest that we may have March and April be okay months. And then as far as crypto goes, there's a lot of bombastic headlines out there, like this Mt. Gox thing. The deadline for the registration is March 8th, but the deadline for distribution isn't until, I believe, September 30th. So we could see distributions start on that Bitcoin earlier than people, or I'm sorry, later than what people are expecting. I think a lot of people are like, March 8th, all the $3 billion worth of Bitcoin is going to hit the market and it's just going to crash everything. When in reality, it could be a multi-month process. And we don't even really know what the effect of that Bitcoin hitting the market is going to be. It could actually be bullish. And I know that sounds super counterintuitive, but I do think that it could actually be a good thing for the markets in general.
I agree.
Well, you know, also you got a lot of people that got money locked up. And so if you see, hey, here's a platform that went under, people did get their money back. Oh, granted, it did take 9 years, but you know, there is some recourse, and that, you know, people's funds aren't essentially forgotten. And so, I mean, that could be worth something. So what's you know, I got to get right into it. Did something happen in the charts? Did something happen to Bitcoin? Because our narrative here, the only thing that I'm sniffing out, because the S&P 500, as you mentioned, is up. NASDAQ's up 1.7%. So we got a good, healthy green day. However, Bitcoin is down. Did it cross some major level on a chart, perhaps? Did it break a trabula or something?
A trabular. I want to share some real quick. I want to share the liquidations before Forrest gets into the charts. So
Massive.
this is
It had to have been
$233 million over the last 24 hours was liquidated, with Bitcoin leading the way at 83 million, followed by ETH, Doge, Litecoin, and Filecoin. And so obviously out of that $200 million, 91% was longs. I also want to note, we went over this in the beginning of the week and last week, March 31st this year, close to 66,000 Bitcoin, not dollars, 66,000 Bitcoin. Call options are open on those. And if the price is at 20 or under 20, we are going to see massive volatility. So Forrest, take it away.
So this crash was a couple things happening. So the actual cause of the crash, or what actually sparked the crash, was I believe there was a big a big seller of Bitcoin, in particular, spot Bitcoin seller on Binance. Who that entity is unclear. But then obviously the FUD that's going around in the news is really twofold. Three if you count if you count like the overall economy's in rough shape. But like you said, S&P 500 legacy markets ripping in the last 2 days. So we'll discount that. The two big pieces of FUD are Silvergate going bankrupt and the Mt. Gox Bitcoin distribution. The first of which, so Silvergate may actually not be that bad. I've done a little bit of digging, and it looks like most of Silvergate's volume has been dwindling anyways. So the actual structural impact of that insolvency is not insolvency, but bankruptcy is actually maybe not that bad. I believe most exchanges and most entities have moved over to Signature, which is another bank. And Silvergate has pretty much been wound down. I believe they moved some assets to like Wells Fargo. I read some headline like that. And otherwise, I also believe there was a headline where Citadel may come in and bail out Silvergate because they own 15% of the stock. So,
and BlackRock, just to add some context for us, don't mean to interrupt you, I apologize, but BlackRock invested heavily into Silvergate as well.
Yeah, and then what I'm thinking is perhaps people saw that the impending collapse of Silvergate. I mean, the writing's been on the wall. We've been discussing it for months now. They've had exposure to Voyager as well, and FTX. FTX being the biggest domino for them. But maybe people saw it coming. Maybe people smelled smoke and knew the fire was coming and have started exiting their position if volume is dropping. But it is interesting that the major banking service that these exchanges are used, to facilitate the movement of crypto from fiat to back into crypto between their customers, that chain is broken. So I don't know if there's going to be more hemorrhaging that's going to happen further down the line. I think you should be open to it for the simple fact that they're an integral part of these exchanges, and they facilitate the onboard and offboard. And not to mention, a lot of people don't realize it, but that is where Circle was essentially using as their banking partner. So Circle, they're backing their tokens by dollars, and they're not keeping the dollars in the garage. They're keeping it in a bank, and that bank was Silvergate, who is now not working with Circle any longer. So
I think Forrest brings up a good point, and that it was already, the Silvergate thing was already dwindling down anyway, so it's not like a shock to the market. But it's interesting, right? What if Signature starts getting pressure from the Fed or the OCC and they start pulling back? Then what do we do? The
competitors are down to one essentially, because you had two. You had Signature and you had Silvergate. Were pretty much off. They're the on and off ramp. They're for everyone.
And I talked about this on Wendy's show like 20 minutes ago. But what I don't understand is if you're so for pro retail investor protection, we all know if risk is spread out, it's better, correct? We say don't put your eggs in one basket. Well, they're forcing people, the crypto community, the crypto industry, to put all their eggs into one bank's basket, and that's Signature. And so if anything happens, the entire space is getting wrecked. Retail, project builders, CEOs, publicly traded companies. So they're like speaking out of both sides of their mouth, and it's very frustrating.
Yeah, and I do think more banks will probably step in, because it's just the demand is there, and the ease of making money is just ridiculous. As a bank in the crypto space and onboarding people, all you have to do is, this was from like an Arthur Hayes tweet. His point was like, all you have to do is take on all of these deposits. Assume you have $10 billion in deposits, and you put it into 3-month treasury notes right now. That $10 billion, which is, like a risk-free investment, rates are high right now. You're netting like $400+ million a year for essentially just being an on-off ramp. So the amount of money that you can make in this space, being that bank is the onboarding and off-ramping solution, is just staggering.
When we talked to Paxos, I mean, they were enthusiastic to tell us that they can make what was it, like 4%, 4 point something percent every 90 days on their stable coins on short-term bonds. I'm just like, what? And like they were like, yeah.
Guys, I think we might see a really big dump. We have a breaking tweet from the tweet master himself, Elon Musk. I used to be in crypto, but now I got interested in AI. If this has any effect that his Doge tweets have, expect a big dip. Are you guys nervous?
Maybe we'll get a big rally in AI tokens, huh?
Probably. I don't know. What are your thoughts, Forrest? Is Elon about to dump the market or what?
No, I don't think so. I think he's in quotations there, so it looks like he's saying AI is kind of the next big thing that the average guy kind of gets involved in and has an interest in. So I think he's just kind of poking fun at crypto people.
So he's not trying to tank AI crypto? People.
I don't see this tanking crypto, but maybe I'm wrong here. So far, we're holding up okay on some key support levels.
Okay. I didn't get a chance to, we like to start every show with some giggles. And we didn't get to today because obviously I was on another show. But before we get into charts, I wanna share some laughter with my friends here. And by my friends, I mean Crypto Billy, Forrest, and Rocco. So first, I want to share a meme. This is from at NFT Hawks. Influencers trying to pump a dead project, and this is kind of what it looks like. It's a slap in the face for me. And then here we have. Oh no, what happened? Okay, here we have a. Okay, never mind. I'm not gonna play this video. There was another video, but I lost it. All right, you get one giggle for today.
The song that
Sorry,
he's
the other one
done
went away. Forrest, let's look at the Bitcoin chart. Bitcoin 22.3.
absolutely.
Also, you shared on Twitter a step-by-step guide to your Matic short trade that you put in. So we'd love to see a Bitcoin chart, an ETH chart, definitely a Matic chart, and anything else you have in store for us.
And if you're new here, say hello. So we can drop an hola back at you. We're going to give a little love to the chat here in a few minutes. There you go.
Sure. So, look, Bitcoin is still actually, it's still actually trending up. It's towards the bottom of its range right now. Just a very simple trend line from our last two touches, our last two support levels, gives us a nice clean upwards channel. You could even maybe venture to bet that this is an accumulation cylinder. That would be kind of a weird one, but those can absolutely rip higher. Regardless, we are channeling up until proven otherwise. I could absolutely see a scenario where we come up here and then we put in our head and shoulders and then we dump and go lower. If we throw on our easy bands and take a peek at our 21-week simple moving average, you know me, I'm a big proponent of, a mean reversion being a plausible and likely scenario at any given point. So that would bring us back down to around 19.5 to 20K, which is really in line with this demand zone, right? And if we just capture this entire range real quick, 25K down to roughly, 18.3 or so, that would actually be more towards the bottom of the range. I just want to draw your attention to the fact that this would, essentially just be a deviation, and we're currently just in a sideways range until proven otherwise. So we could certainly just drop right back down into this zone without breaking market structure. I mean, this would still technically, I would say, as long as we're above the 21-week simple moving average, we're in a bullish market structure. If we break the 21-week simple moving average, but ultimately hold 18.3 or so, we are just holding the bottom of our range. And we're in a big sideways range with a nice big deviation down there, thanks courtesy of Sam Bankman-Fried and FTX. So nothing yet to be alarmed of. I know we dropped really hard and fast yesterday, and that alarmed a lot of people regarding the speed with which we dropped. But we had a really similar one back here in kind of mid-February. February 9th to be exact. We consolidated for a few days and then they sent it right back up to 25K. So as far as I'm concerned, this is just a nice, nasty washout of altcoins, which, to be quite honest, it really needed it. Like, DYDX was all the way up here above its red easy band level at 360. Now it's down at 260, much healthier. Optimism was way overextended. Everything's just been way overbought. You look at Stacks, which been a fan of, right? Still overextended, like Blur. I don't even have, easy bands for this because it's so new, but what was this doing at $1.42? When it's got, a fully diluted valuation of over, I believe, $2 billion still. So a lot of these altcoins just needed to be washed out to some degree. But I would say my personal opinion is that we still have another potential leg up, right? And potentially take out 26, 27, 28K. Maybe test the top of this and then move back down to the 21-week simple moving average. But if we're just looking at our easy bands here, keeping it really simple, we're in no man's land, right? We're in this range. We're halfway between our red easy band level. We're halfway between our 21-week simple moving average. We could move in either direction. And I know that sounds like, super not helpful, but when the market is opaque and the market isn't clear, I'm not going to give, direction and say it's 100% going this direction or the other. I'm going to wait for the market to kind of tell us what it's going to do a little bit and give us better risk to reward opportunities. But even so, in the short term here, if we just isolate, we look at, disregard the easy bands, disregard past price history, and we just isolate for this little range here, we are on trend line support. So I do think as far as like a shorter term play goes, this can be a reasonable dip to buy. Would I go all in on this dip? No, but this is a dip in a bullish market market structure. In a bullish market structure, you get rewarded for buying dips, adding a little bit or getting a little bit speculative here as altcoins are getting washed out. We look at Phantom, pulling all the way back down. I'd like to pick this up at, a 21-week, a full mean reversion. So we could still have a ways to go if Bitcoin does get that mean reversion back down to 19, 20K. But there's, certainly some merit here in the short term to actually buying this dip a little bit, especially when you take into account Mt. Gox. Distributions may not happen or for several more months. We don't know when they're going to happen. I would honestly say that this could I kind of alluded to this earlier. This distribution of Bitcoin could be bullish. I know that sounds counterintuitive, but I believe it's $3 billion to $3.5 billion worth of Bitcoin being distributed. Let me ask you guys, what would you do? And we can come back to the charts here in just a moment. What would you guys do if you were essentially airdropped right now from Mt. Gox 10 Bitcoin? Like what would you do tomorrow if 10 Bitcoin went into your wallet?
Me
today?
and my boy Billy, we're gonna go down to the craps table. That's where we're gonna go. I'm liquidating all that Bitcoin, crashing the market right away.
Here's the thing, like those people that, you got to assume, and of course this is me assuming, majority of people maybe haven't even been able to log into their account or whatever to claim that. And so the people that have, obviously you can assume they took crypto a little more serious or whatever the case may be. Price there was, let's say 100, 200, 300 bucks when they bought their Bitcoin. Now it's 20K with the market heating up and this halving cycle less than a year away. You'd kind of be stupid to sell now unless, of course, your financial situation changed and you really need the money.
I think it's going to be very similar to a traditional airdrop where, you're going to have some on the side. You're not going to sell all of it. You're going to take a little bit of cash. All of a sudden, if, you check your account and you're up $100,000 or something of that nature, and you need to draw on some cash, I'm sure you're not going to, you're going to take advantage of that. I do want to talk to the chat though. We only got like a 50% like ratio. What's going on here? Ladies, gentlemen, if you're driving in your car, please pull over, put the hazard lights on, minimize the chat here and hit the like button. And then if you're not doing any of that, then why the hell haven't you hit the like button? We do got some new people here. So some of the new people, if you're new also, say hello, so we can drop an hola back at you. So we got VFW, we got Rico Mitshaw, we got Magdanos, we got Kenton Smith, DC, Rexion, the Three Musketeers, as one person, not three. And then we got Stan Stick and Doodoo, or Dodo, or Doodome, or Dudo, whatever your name is. Hola! Welcome to Sin City Crypto.
Yeah, that's so painful every time. All right, before we get into, so the next chart for us, if it's okay with you, we'd like to look at is ETH. But first, before we go into the chart, I want to share some news, some good news, and potentially some bad news. So let's first start with the potentially, well, this is not really bad news, but Shanghai has been moved. It's been pushed.
Stop.
It's been delayed.
What?
It's been sent backwards. Yes, ETH developers pushed Shanghai mainnet upgrade into April. That was supposed to happen this month. Ethereum developers will deploy the Shapella hard fork on the Gurley testnet at 10 p.m. UTC on March 14th, delaying the mainnet withdrawals by 3 to 4 weeks. So expect that. Probably going to get pushed back again, but expect that mid to late April. And I could have swore I had more things highlighted here, but I guess not. So Gurley expected early next week. So, of course, we understand ETH, Cardano, they do, obviously do it the right way. Testnet, test, break, fix, then mainnet, right? Mm-hmm. Also, some other news, some exciting news. ERC 4337 token standards have been deployed. What does it mean for ETH users? Have you read into this, Forrest?
I'm sorry, the Gorley testnet tokens that are now selling for money?
No, the EI, is that what it is? New token standard, the 4337 that has the account abstraction?
Completely. No, I actually, this is, I feel like I may have seen a headline, but I haven't looked into this.
Let's jump into it. So ERC 4337 following the EIP 4337 was deployed on ETH's mainnet, heralding a new token standard, ERC 4337. At the time of writing, it was described as an account abstraction proposal which completely avoids consensus layer protocol changes, instead relying on higher layer infrastructure. Account abstraction essentially allows Ethereum wallets to operate as a programmable smart contract. This would enable users to recover lost private keys, among other benefits.
That sounds sus, bro.
These new smart contracts could also help onboard the next wave of users to ETH and DeFi. Furthermore, users can program different mechanisms to enable their private keys to be retrieved. Knee-jerk reaction. Forrest, I'll start with you first.
I need to look into this more. I need to research it. Account abstraction, I've heard positive things, but it's something that I need to research more to really give a good opinion on.
What are your
it's first I've heard of this actually.
This whole private key
you
loss,
can enable a feature that lets you
store your private keys somewhere where they're retrievable.
You know what? As long as it's not blanket. As long as if you want to do that, if you don't trust yourself, you want to enable a feature like that, expose yourself to more risk, because you're going to be doing that. Because if you can retrieve your private keys, if you lose it, that means someone else can retrieve your private keys in some form or shape or manner, right? And so I wouldn't entertain that fact. I wouldn't be interested in it personally. But I could see a situation where people would welcome that, right?
Jesus Christ. What are you guys doing?
Super chats are massive.
Good Lord.
Damn. We had a $100 super chat from
Can
Jimmy.
we get the nuke button over here?
Damn. We got an auction over here going on. Billy, you could have just handed us the cash, bro. We're right here. YouTube can't.
You just hand us $200, bro. You don't have to even super chat it. You just give me 100, give
so
David
funny.
100,
Oh
and we're good. You just got one up to there, Jimmy. But,
hey, I feel like Jimmy has said he does not play when it comes to money. But all jokes aside, thank you guys so much. Jimmy's $100 said deposit on that white space behind Rob. Jimmy, we'll talk tomorrow. Also, Crypto Billy, $200 said you have been out. Hey, Jimmy, flexing on you, bro.
it's an arms race.
Literally. You guys are amazing. This community is so badass. I love you guys. All right. Okay, so Forrest, I respect that you need more information. So when you do get that information, we'll ask you again about what are your thoughts on this. I feel like out of the three of us, you're the most technical when it comes to like code and blockchain stuff between the three of us. But
at its core, do you like the idea of having a backup for your seed phrase?
I agree with.
Would you be open to that?
I agree with what you said.
Or do you think you lose it, you lost it?
I agree with. I agree
really
with
depends on the method for recovery and how secure that is. I mean, you could say, you could store your private key so many different ways. This could just be a password retrieval. I have no idea what this is actually going to be. That's why I need to research it more. If it's something that's like extraordinarily vulnerable to being hacked or exploited, then that's probably not a good thing. As long as it's optional, it's probably fine, right? Overall, I'm all for making crypto, lowering the bar, the barriers to entry, making it more accessible to the average person that doesn't want to, open up a ledger pack and write down 24 words that they've got to store somewhere that they're going to lose, and then they lose all their money in 3 years and they just forget. Any moves towards that direction are probably positive, but you just got to weigh pros and cons, and I just don't know what those pros and cons are yet until I dive in.
It's scary, dude. It's scary. If I lose those 24 words, I am SOL. I'm shit out of luck. And I think Frosted Flake brings up a good point. I like how you
abbreviated it and then unabbreviated it afterwards. Like
I like to stay fluid, my friend.
LOL.
LOL. I've done that before. That was so embarrassing. Frosted Flake brings up a good point. To bring crypto to the masses, it has to be simple. Yes, barrier to entry, and I said this earlier today, I said it earlier this week. If Forrest comes to me and he's never bought crypto before, he says, hey, I want to invest in Bitcoin. All right, Forrest, go to this website, buy a ledger. When it gets here, turn it on, write down the 24 words, then plug it in, download the software, make sure it's the right website, because if it's a phishing website, you're going to get all your money stolen. And then you got to download this third-party wallet and this third-party wallet, and then connect this extension. Like at some, Forrest is going to be like, all right, never mind. I'm just going to stick to mutual funds.
And shout out to Biomex. He dropped a $1.99 super chat. Says, my 2 Satoshis.
Hey, We appreciate you, Biomix.
Well,
Biomix
we're
is
gonna
a
put an
whale member
ordinal
as
on
well.
that thing. Let's go.
So I am in that camp. The barrier to entry needs to be lower. And I'm not just going to flat out say, yes, yeah, I agree with this, because I agree with Robin. We got to see if it's a blanket thing or if it's something you could choose from. But
It sounded like it's something you said it enabled. So
yeah, but we'll see. I feel like if we just give our 100% opinion now without having all the information or in-depth info that we need, I think, it's a disservice to our community. But nonetheless, it's scary, man. If you imagine having $4, $5, $6 million and you're like, well, disperse it amongst other ledgers or trezors. Okay, then that's extra seed phrases you have to keep track of.
yeah, but then also remember your $14, $15 million gets compromised because of a secondary key retrieval. So
So I know for a fact there's a solution that's out there. We just haven't found it yet.
the solution is write down your seed phrase and put it somewhere safe and secure. That's your solution.
Okay, cool.
And then make sure you can pass it on to your loved ones if you die.
Yeah, okay.
There you go.
So my wife goes, wife asked me, because, I have some few hardware wallets up, and we're going over our life insurance stuff. And I was like, all right, if something happens to me, this crypto, this is here, this is there. I was like, then she knows who to go to first, right? If something happens to me, you go to this person. So she goes, who's your backup? Robin, I want you to know, if you get a call from my wife, don't steal my crypto, bro. I swear to God, I will come back from the dead and hunt your ass. Maybe I should do Forrest instead of Robin. I don't know. We'll see. Forrest. But all jokes aside, you definitely should have a plan, especially if your loved one doesn't understand crypto. Let them know, hey, this thing has money on it. Give them a contact name or person. Go to this person. They'll help you. Last thing you want is to finally amass millions of Bitcoin. You die and your family gets nothing. So, Forrest, with this ETH news, let's go to the ETH chart. We did a video on ETH Shanghai. If you haven't seen that, please go check it out. It's my favorite video we've done. 16.5 million ETH tokens are going to be unlocked. I don't believe it's going to cause the market to dump. Some people do believe. Where we're looking at on ETH, if we do see a rally, what are some areas of resistance? And if we do see a drop down, what are some levels of support?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's clean this chart up just a little bit. Let's throw on our price bias levels. Now, look, I asked you guys before we cut away from the charts what you would do if you got 10, 20 Bitcoin in your wallet tomorrow. What I would do is I would use that Bitcoin to, sell some of it to USDC or whatever, but I'd be speculating. I'd take that as, okay, we got some money. To me, this Mt. Gox distribution is like a direct stimulus check just right into the heart of the crypto casino here. So I actually think this could be really bullish for altcoins. It could be bullish for Ethereum. I already know that if I received 10, 20 Bitcoin tomorrow, the bulk of that is just going directly into Ethereum as a longer term hold, regardless of price action. I'm just going to take that money and I'm just going to diversify it across some different asset classes or cryptocurrencies rather, particularly Ethereum. So I actually think that this could be a major stimulus check like thing. It's like, you get a stimulus check in the mail from the government in dollars. What do you do with it? Most people speculate with it. They might invest it. So I think that's something that may happen, and this could actually be quite bullish for Ethereum. People may be fine having, the market in 2012, I believe, when Mt. Gox went down, or getting my number, my dates. What was it? 24. When did Mt. Gox go down?
2014.
2014. Sorry. So the market in 2014, if we just go to the altcoin dominance chart, was very, very different, right? You had, 90% Bitcoin dominance. So this is altcoin dominance. You had like 90 and even, 95% Bitcoin dominance. There were no altcoins. Right. So a lot of this Bitcoin is being unlocked now in a market where altcoin dominance is much higher. And if we just abstracted that and said, okay, 60% or 57% of this Bitcoin is going to make its way into altcoins, it's actually pretty bullish for stuff like Ethereum and some of the big majors. So I'm leaning a little bit more towards the bullish side for ETH. Obviously, we have the Shanghai upgrade. I also think that's going to draw a lot of people and attract a lot of people towards staking. If we just draw a really nice and tight range here, not looking at anything, not looking at any fancy indicators. We just kind of draw the price range that we held before the FTX collapse, and that we've recovered since the FTX collapse, since we've ran back up. We have our $1,500 level. That's going to be a big psychological level that is now held twice. It held multiple times before the FTX collapse. So if we go down to $1,500, I think that's a fine short-term trade, range trade to make. Right, buy the bottom of the range, sell the top of the range. Where's the top of the range? Just shy of $1,700. We've poked our head up above $1,700 a little bit here, but 1670, 1680 has really been the top of the range. It's where we peaked before FTX collapsed. It's where we peaked here. We wicked above it a couple times, right? We had our deviation, and we've recently held support at about 1670 as well. So without even getting too fancy there, we can just kind of structure our range and say, hey, we're still trading within this range that we've been in really since January, mid-January. I'm of the opinion, I've got a great S&P 500 chart I can share if we have time. I'm of the opinion that March and April may be primed to be fairly bullish months so far. March is off to a great start for the S&P 500, but these are the basic levels that I'd be paying attention to, and then the levels that we've been kind of after for quite a long time. And so we see a little bit more confluence around that $1,500 level. The level that I've been very, very interested in is around 1350. So that was the top of this prior consolidation range that we had before we had, but before the FTX collapse in that initial run up. This range right here is very interesting to me. And we've held this as resistance so many times, but we have not back tested it as support yet, right? So if I kind of clean this up a little bit, we have a ton of margin pressure level and risk reward level confluence. I'm not going to throw them all on because it'll take too much time, but 1340 to 1350 right here, right? That has been a major resistance level that we've now, as we've passed through it, we've come back down and we've sliced through it, right? We sliced through it here again, but we have not come back to actually hold support on top of it. Doesn't mean we have to, right? But you'd like to see that happen if we do drop back down. So I absolutely think 1350 is a no-brainer level to bid if we drop that low. Otherwise, 1500. And to the upside target is between 2000 and 2150, right? Which is where we've already kind of seen resistance, range resistance. If we bring our margin pressure levels back a notch, right? To our $1,000 level right there. You'll see a lot of resistance, that 2x long resistance at around $2,000. $2,000 is also going to be a big psychological price bias level. So really, to summarize, 1350, 1500, and 2000 are the big levels to look out for.
1350, 1500, 2000. I agree that the $2,000 level is psychological, but we'll see what happens if it does test that. Now, Forrest, you shared your Matic short setup in detail, and so first and foremost, wanted to thank you for that, because a lot of people you see on Twitter is posting their little thing. I made 500%, I made 600%, I made 100%, and no one ever talks about the process, right? So I think it's important, especially if you're trying to inspire people, inspire confidence in people, and share your knowledge, which is what we're here to do. It's important to do what you're doing. So I'd love for you to, and we retweeted that tweet, by the way. So if you want to go, first and foremost, go follow Forrest at 0x Stacker and go follow us as well. Forrest, if you want to talk about Matic, what your thinking was, and also if you're open to it, and you can say no if you don't want to, if you have an eye on another trade right now that you potentially are going to put in, if you want to walk us through maybe live how you figure out where to set your entry price, exit price, stop loss, what kind of leverage, how much leverage you're going to use. So I'll leave it up to you. If you want to share that, go ahead. If not, completely understand.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, yeah. So looking at Matic here, first thing I always like to do is throw on the easy bands. Like, this is not a hardcore like buy sell indicator. You can go above them, you can go below them. It's not something that if you follow these religiously that is like guaranteed to make you money, but it's a pretty good barometer of, hey, this is super oversold down here, this is super overbought up here above the red easy bands. If you identify the actual market that you're in, I've been looking at all the data, and I believe we've been in a bear market rally. Now these bear market rallies I think there's a strong chance we get another wave here. not guaranteed. But in a bear market rally, and when you're not in a period of just extreme speculation like in a bull market, you hit these red easy bands and you can just continue to get acceleration through them. We're in a bear market rally, so I actually don't expect acceleration here. I expect profit taking, right? So we go into these red easy band zones, and obviously this was FTX. It's difficult to predict that. I mean, that's extreme volatility there, right? But this trend was a lot nicer. We got into this overbought territory, and that's already shifting my mindset to think, okay, Matic's gone from 75 cents to $1.56. That is a 100% move in a large cap cryptocurrency in a very short period of time with no significant pullback. We're going to be looking for a short position. So we'll get rid of the easy bands. Let's just briefly take a peek at our trend line here. Trend line was showing us that this was a clearance pump, which is usually just like a blow off top off of your trend line. You very frequently slam back down into these. Back test the support trend line on the other side, which you can barely see here on the daily, and then continue further lower, right? But this clearance pump is usually indicative of, and when I mean my clearance thrust is actually what it's called, which is kind of a funny name. This clearance thrust, it's clearing the previous high with aggression and moving very, very hard. So if you actually want to read about those, I linked it in the tweet that I put out, but Paracurve is a great resource for different trading strategies and tools. And this was, something that some prior research that I had done that you see manifest in this chart is like super old. You see these like going way, way, way back. So this is nothing new, but it is something that you do consistently see in markets. So that clearance thrust was indicative of, okay, this is very likely going to be a shorter term top. We also have our price bias levels, which, this indicator that I have doesn't include $1.50, but for all practical purposes, $1.50 is a very psychological level. As soon as we tick up to 151, your mind starts rounding to $2. Seems very expensive. 149 seems cheaper. So you get nice buying behavior and bids all the way up until you tick over $1.50, and then you start running out of I'm blanking on the word, that bidding behavior, the buyers kind of just subside. So those bids, that push really starts to subside and allows for that clearance thrust to run out of steam and come back down. It falls just like a rock, right? We also had the structural level at $1.50, which was the resistance that we held that we had a big propulsion off of, a really big bounce off of, and accelerated downwards off of. So all of these things kind of going into this level, and we take our long margin pressure levels, right? So notice that there's just like 5 different things that are all giving confluence at this one area. And that's not always going to happen, but when it does, it gives me a lot of confidence to actually take a trade. So our long margin pressure levels, we get rid of our price bias levels, remove that as well. $1.4944. That's where you can no longer long on 2x long leverage and hide that liquidation point below this nice clean local low, which was also our range low. So a ton of support down there that leveraged buyers are wanting to hide their liquidation point below, and they can no longer do so above 149.44. So that more bidding is subsiding. It's harder and harder and harder to sustain buy pressure above 150 for all of these reasons. So I put in a short at 150. I think this was 2 weeks ago now, and we were on this live stream when this actually filled. I was like, hey, my Matic short filled, and we were kind of watching this run through and ended up topping out like the next day. So it's kind of funny that this has come full circle exactly in like a 2-week time frame. So I closed that trade this morning. The reason being for closing it this morning, couple things. First of all, the reason I didn't close it when we came back down to the trend line, which is normally where I would have looked to close, would have just looked to close right there because that's support. But because this was off of a clearance thrust, and you'll very frequently see these slam down below their trend lines and back test the other side, I decided to let this run a little bit more. And then what happened, if we throw on our margin pressure levels here. We got a really solid bounce off of this. We're kind of in this, prior demand zone. We're consolidating. We could go lower, but I'm not going to press it. I closed my trade at like $1.15, $1.16. It happily took profits. And if it, wouldn't be surprised if this, bounces a little bit and moves back upwards. If we go to the RSI, we're getting bullish divergence, right? Bullish divergence on RSI on the 4 hour. I'm sorry.
No, I was just seeing. Can you explain for us, like, why is it considered bullish when price is going down and the relative strength index is going up? What's the theory behind that?
Yeah, so the easiest way there's like actually a formula for how RSI is actually calculated. I just use this this line shows me the strength of buyers or the conviction of buyers or the momentum of buyers, right? So that's the most simplified way to put it. So basically there's a disparity between price action, price is going down, so price is getting cheaper, and as price gets cheaper, buyers are getting more and more confident. They're making higher lows in this RSI indicator, and we'll see if we actually get another push up. And the 4 hours, a little bit of a low time frame. It's the lowest time frame that I really like to use RSI on. I prefer daily and weekly, but as far as just closing a shorter term trade, I think this is fine. So this is just showing us that, hey, the buyers are becoming more and more confident. Buyers are actually stepping in here to a higher and higher degree, and that's opposite of what the price is doing. So the lower the price goes, the more incentivized buyers actually become to actually buy Matic at these levels. So what I think could very well happen is we get a little bit of a bounce, maybe a little bit of a short squeeze. We pop back up, right? And then maybe we continue downwards. Maybe we come back up to test the top of the range. That much is unclear. But this is enough for me to say, hey, I'm going to close my trade here. I'm not going to try to push this any lower. We have support here that we've already held initially. We've got this bullish divergence. I don't really want to press my luck any further and then find myself in a situation where I've taken a really nice trade, right, and I could have closed it right here, and now we're just getting a nice relief bounce, and then I've got to be in a situation of, all right, maybe we hope that it goes back down lower. I'd rather just take the money now and look for the next one. So speaking of the next one,
thank you for that, Forrest. I appreciate that. That's a great explanation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. It's RSI. Just think of it as like it's the strength or the conviction or the momentum of buyers, right? It doesn't necessarily have to reflect price. And when you get disparities or divergences between the two, it's usually indicative of like, hey, there's a pretty high degree of likelihood we get a bounce here. It doesn't have to be 100%, but you're just trading is all confidence intervals and percentages. Like, hey, if there's a 70% chance we get a bounce here, I want to cut my short trade. So speaking of the next trade, so first of all, we do have some support here. So you could have taken a long there, but that's not low enough for me to really be very comfortable. And I don't know if there's enough confluence there for me to have really taken a long position. But if we go back to our price bias levels, we have really, really clean prior resistance and kind of our range high at around $1, right? Exactly. All the way up to, the range popped up to about $1.04. And we actually have a lot of, I'll get rid of those price bias levels. So that's the zone of kind of the range high that I would expect that this would start to find some support into if we fall back down here. So not saying that Matic is going to $1, but if it does, that gives me more confidence to actually buy it there. So if we throw on our long margin pressure levels from this kind of range deviation low, we get more support coming in at 103.5, right? So that's a support level. And I believe if we bring this guy down to this big range low, maybe it was this one. It's kind of hard to get these exactly perfect on the 4 hour because the wicks get so thin, but I should be able to get it here. There we go. That gives us, again, more confluence on the 2x long margin pressure level at 104. So now you're seeing like, okay, there's a ton of things that caused this to be resistance, right? This was our range high resistance. We had this huge deviation. We had like a Disney partnership followed by FTX. Like we have to call that what it is and say, okay, this was very weird price action. We can kind of cut that out. and for all practical purposes, ignore that because this was just insane volatility. But the rest of our range is relatively intact, right? So what was prior resistance for reasons, due to the margin pressure levels and whatnot, should for the very same reasons act as support on the way back down. So if we actually see maybe a little head and shoulders come back down to our psychological level between 99 cents and $1.04, that gives me confidence to take a long position there. And catch a bounce back upwards. So I don't know if we're going to go down to $1.04 to $1, but if we do, that's we've got plenty of structural support there. And
can I ask you a question?
Well.
Can I ask you a question? So you have levels in your mind, right? 99 cents to $1.04. If it gets to $1.07, $1.08, do you ever sit there and say it's only like 3-4 cents off of my level? Let me just pull the trigger now, or do you just set limit orders? You set it and forget it. And is it right or wrong either way? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so me personally, I don't want to take a trade bad enough to sacrifice the level. Like that's just being super impatient to say, oh, it's close enough. I'm like, look, I can wait 3 weeks. So I've made maybe 2 trades in the last couple of weeks, 2 or 3 trades maybe. Been trading way less frequently. Lower the leverage, lower the size amount, don't stress as much, let it come to you. If you're trying to force a trade, that's how you get into a situation where let's say you take it early and you take it at 109, which for all, we don't know. Maybe it falls to 109 perfectly, but there's really no structural reason or indicators or support or resistance levels that fall at that level with enough confluence that gives me confidence as far as like that'll be the level that we bounce out. It could for whatever reason, but there's nothing kind of backing that particular trade. And let's just say the trade runs against us and this turns into a deviation. Things get bad, things get ugly, and we run back down to 76 cents. The losses that you incur by taking this trade early, even though it just seems like it's 4 cents, right? When you're leveraged up or you're taking a larger trade size, that's very significant. And also, if you're trying to keep a nice stop loss, right? So we'll go to our long position tool, right? If you're trying to keep a nice stop loss, let's just say that you get a flash wick down to 98 cents. Right now, all of a sudden, right, that 98 cent level, like, because remember, our 150 was our resistance level, but it popped all. It had some momentum to get all the way to 156. So if this drops to 97, with a wick, for all practical purposes, the $1 level still held. If we take this all the way up at 8 cents, that's just a massive stop loss. That's a 10% move against us. And it really cuts into our risk reward. So let's just say we were targeting $1.50. We'd probably target $1.33 to be honest, give or take, which was this prior level right there. Let's just say we're conservative. We target 133, and we get in at 108. We could realistically see this come down to 98 cents. That's only 2.26 to 1 risk reward. Whereas if we actually take this at $1, or let's just say in this case, more aggressively, we take it at $1.04. Now we're getting 5.49 to 1 risk reward. If we're willing to be patient and take this all the way down closer to $1, we can actually widen up our stop loss all the way down to 92 cents. I'm a bigger fan of keeping a nice tight stop loss, and then just if you get stopped out and then it revalidates your trade by popping up, I'm a big fan of just getting back in the trade. Just get back. It's reval. Right. You got looked out, but it popped back up. It's telling you that support is actually there, and you just limit your losses on it when trades run against you. But we can actually get way better risk reward.
I'm excited to see what kind of movement we're going to get out of Matic when ETH's price starts to rally. Because we actually have a correspondent out there in ETH Denver right now. I think he's patching in right now. Hello. Okay, yeah. So we have actually live coverage from ETH Denver. Vitalik is on stage. Rocco, can you pull up my laptop, please? So without further ado, I'm gonna. There we go. What the hell is this? It's Vitalik.
What is up with these creepy Ethereum dances? Like, I don't. What is? What the fuck is going? What is going on? What are they doing? What the hell is
Yes, this is
Hey,
live.
come to Eat
This-
Denver, guys.
This is live, guys.
Uh,
This is live. Thank you. All right.
oh, man. Forrest, if you were there and Vitalik invited you up, would you go up and dance like this?
No, this makes me want to sell all of my Ethereum. This makes me I think like
This makes me sell
If-
all my Ethereum.
this is scaring so many people away from like, okay, like imagine like, the majority of my net worth is in these people's hands. If this is the Ethereum Foundation. Like this is just brutal.
Imagine,
I
dude.
can't stand stuff like that.
imagine Apple, okay? Imagine Steve Wozniak from Apple. All right, guys, we've decided it's between Ethereum and Solana. I need you to do some homework. I need to know everything about the founder. And he goes, well, I found this video.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
Look,
like, I get it
yeah,
having
it's-
fun, but
it's
come
not
on,
good.
man.
It's bearish.
Root said-
Honestly, I think every time we've had one of these crazy dance videos go viral on Twitter, it's been the top. So
It's been the top. Hopefully it's the bottom because the price hasn't really moved.
Yeah.
So Root said mushrooms are decriminalization here. So maybe they are under the influence of some sort of medicinal somethings. All right, Forrest, thank you for the charts. Let's head into some news of the day. So I want to start here first with something very interesting. FTX finds only one out of 1,591 customer-owned Bitcoin. One. A whole one. A whole one. Their whole is roughly around $9 billion. How do you have a $9 billion hole? What in the effing hell is going on? This is sourced from Crypto Slate. Their books and records are incomplete and in many cases totally absent, said John J. Ray III. Remarkably, the latest presentation shows a now defunct exchange owns only one Bitcoin against the 1,591 it owes to customers. In total, it was revealed that the exchange owes $8.7 billion in total to customers, mainly spread across cash and stablecoin assets, but also Ethereum, Solana, and hundreds of other tokens who were previously allowed to trade on FTX.com and FTX.us. You guys have any commentary to add to this? I mean, it's a pretty straightforward article. I'll start with you first, Robin.
I mean, what more can I say about it's not surprising, full of fraud.
Let's check the exchange balance on FTX right now. And FTX currently holding 3.75 Bitcoin. That's up 0.11. So someone
still tracking
deposited a tenth of a Bitcoin 7 days ago. Sorry, go ahead.
I don't have any.
No, I mean,
I'm
it's-
exhausted about talking about the failures and the irresponsibilities. And at this point, I think we're all not shocked at that, right? You're not surprised, right? That
No,
out
no.
of all the Bitcoin that they were holding, the thousands of them, essentially, there's only one. Kind of actually comical, not in a comical like haha, but isn't it
That's funny.
extremely coincidental that
Like-
it's just one Bitcoin, not half a Bitcoin, not 3 Bitcoin? It's
Well, they might be rounding. We don't know if they are. Right. Headline article, it reads better. 1 Bitcoin versus 0.95632 Bitcoin.
yeah.
Forrest, do you have any thoughts on this? I know, like I said, I don't have any comment other than why and where and when. But do you have anything to add to this? Sorry.
I mean, it's just straight up fraud. You know, not to beat a dead horse here, but it's just straight up fraud. They took they let's say they had 10 billion in customer deposits that were liquid. They took all of that liquid crypto, embezzled it, invested it, gambled with it, whatever they did with it. Donated it to political parties. They took all the liquid stuff and then they replaced it on their books with illiquid, FTX token, Serum, all their Alameda investments and whatnot to show that, hey, we still have $10 billion. It just so happens that $10 billion was in just a liquid garbage that once the market crashed was worthless.
You know what's sad is that is market cap that would have been in Bitcoin, right? And we always it's it's natural and it's human to think of the person that lost their Bitcoin. But
Sam robbed us of a massive bull market, I believe.
Yeah, and this is Bitcoin. This is money that should have been in Bitcoin.
Mainland. Should I answer that?
What is it? What does it say?
China. It says China mainland.
Whoa. Yeah, bro. Come on. Do it live. Do it.
There could be some serious crypto information.
It's Do Kwon calling you, so once ready to pitch you another project.
Yeah,
Do Kwon's from South Korea, but
I thought that was funny. It just popped up. Sorry to interrupt.
yeah, that's Bitcoin lost, right? That's people that were like, hey, I'm gonna, I got my whole Bitcoin. Hey, I want to, I got half a Bitcoin. Hey, that's people that don't have that. One, that sucks for them, of course, but at the same time, it stings that much more because this is all a cumulative effect, and this whole network grows as more people get into crypto and more people get into Bitcoin, and this was robbed from us by Sam Bankman-Fried. So
Sam, if you're watching, I hate you. I want to give a shout out to Don Manning, who did not wait for the sugar daddy of this channel, Jimmy, to gift out memberships. He went ahead and signed up on his own. So, Rocco, can we welcome our newest crypto fan member?
And also, we do got a few new people in the chat. So if you're new here, say hello. So we got Crypto Dave up in here. We got Don Manning. We got Don Engert. Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, who's in here shilling his... I'll let you figure it out. We also got Jonathan Slaughter, Crypto Toucan, Cody, Cleo, Mike Play, and D Petty Crypto, who is here for your boy CB. So to all of you, hola! Welcome.
Jimmy is pretty much this channel's sugar daddy, right? For the community members, right? Put a 1 if you think Jimmy is this channel's sugar daddy. Put a 1. My vote is a 1.
I'll go ahead. I'll put a 1 in here. Yes.
Yeah. Crypto Billy in person and in the chat said 1. All right. We can all agree Gary Gensler is not someone that people look up to in our space. He's not a very liked person in our space. And some judges and some regulators and some politicians are starting to take notice and speak out. One of them is the judge in the Voyager bankruptcy case, said he is absolutely shocked by SEC's objection to the Binance.US deal. If you have been living under a rock in Bikini Bottom, that is a reference to SpongeBob SquarePants and Patrick, of course, the starfish. Voyager assets that are in bankruptcy court, Binance.US put a bid in, it got accepted. What they want to do, take those customer assets on Voyager, move them over to Binance.US, and allow people to withdraw off of their platform. The SEC objected to that. They said, no, because some of the crypto tokens and VGX is security. And we don't think Binance has enough money. We don't think they have enough money to buy it. So the judge in the case, Michael Wiles, appeared heavily skeptical. I'm trying to, this thing is, hold on.
A little cut off.
Yeah. There we go. All right. U.S. Bankruptcy Court Judge Michael Wiles appeared heavily skeptical about an attempt by the SEC to stop a purchase by Binance. The SEC regulators said the deal should be blocked because Voyager's token could constitute unregistered security. And then this is what the judge said. You come here and tell me that I should stop everybody in their tracks because you might have an issue. It's kind of a weird objection. He also said he was absolutely shocked at the SEC's objection, saying it was asking Voyager to prove a negative with little guidance from the regulator. I get the feeling that this objection has been made as a kind of cover so you can say later that we'll see we raised these issues. You haven't really. You have done nothing. I need to know the specifics. Can we get a round of applause, Rocco, for Judge Wiles? Judge Wiles, if for some odd reason you're watching Six City Crypto, applause is for you, my friend. Forrest, are people finally starting to catch on to Gary Gensler and his issue and his nitpicking of crypto in our space?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's come after FTX. Gary Gensler and the SEC are trying to take a more, we'll call it proactive stance, an open stance against crypto, which is too little too late. Claiming, kind of trying to reel it back in, use FTX as an excuse, whatever it may be. But honestly, I think this is a better version of Gary Gensler for crypto, as weird as that sounds. Like if he's being forced to kind of overplay his hand, you get like common sense judges like this that are going to come in and call him out on it, versus if you kind of have that ambiguous Gary Gensler's kind of sitting back, not giving any, they never give clear guidance, but going after, just one off here, one off there, going after library, trying to win that case, and just kind of like sitting half in, half out of crypto. Now that they're taking a more anti-crypto stance, it just kind of exposes their true intentions a little bit more clearly, and hopefully that'll backfire on them.
All right, Rob, what are your thoughts, bro? Is Gary Gensler on the hot seat? We're seeing Congress people, right? Politicians. We're seeing now judges. We're seeing lawyers. We're seeing his own commissioner, Hester Pierce. Well, she's been speaking out, against him for a while. Is Gary on the hot seat? Robin, what are your thoughts?
No.
Why?
Oh.
So you're saying this is no big deal that a judge is calling him out?
Yeah, but the judge isn't his employer. Is not somebody that's going to reprimand him. It's not.
So you don't think he's going to get reprimanded at all? Okay.
No. Now here's the thing. A lot of times the acting chair, the SEC, and other branches never fill out their full term, so it is common for them to.
But he's got till 2026, right?
Yeah. Well, it's very common for them not to make it their full term and get replaced. And so I'm just saying, man, it's possible that just naturally. This time will come and move on. That's interesting. Here's the thing: like, what do you think the narrative would have been if we would have had the same discussion on FTX trying to buy up Voyager's assets?
It would have been fine. We would have got no objection. They got no objection.
But what do you think the pushback would have been if they would have been an objection?
It would have been.
That's what I'm saying. And so on one end, that deal, which is very similar to the one we have now, at least on the most basic level, you have one defunct exchange buying another defunct exchange, or one big exchange buying a defunct exchange assets, right? They're going through bankruptcy. We had that before with FTX and Voyager. Now we know after everything played out and the fire cleared, we saw what was left, and we know what the intentions were. They were trying to essentially get their FTT token back before they got liquidated, and then we know what
you
happens.
Say the FTT token?
The FTT token.
Oh, I thought you said the FTTT token.
No, just two T's. Two T's.
Okay.
So they knew what was going to happen if those tokens got liquidated, right? And so the whole idea was FTX was coming in to buy Voyager's assets because they wanted their tokens back, because they didn't want them liquidated, because it was, what was it, like 80% or 70% of the entire FTX's corporate net worth was in FTT token. And if they had a massive sell that dropped the price due to a forced liquidation through bankruptcy, we all know where that was going to go. You didn't need to look any further than what Binance did when they said, "Hey, we're going to liquidate your token, crash the price," and then the whole house of cards fell. They knew that was going to happen with the assets on FTT. Is it that much different what's happening here? Binance is coming in and buying Voyager's tokens. I'm just saying that it's like, fool me once, Now, I don't think this is the case, but I'm just saying from a regulator standpoint, it's eerily similar, right? And they already don't trust crypto exchanges. And I'm not trying to go to bat for the SEC or anything. I think that at heart, I think Binance should just go ahead, buy the assets. Let's get this over with, get the people some money back. However, And I kind of see the narrative. I really do, man. It was only like 4 months ago that we even got into this mess, or 4 months ago, it was FTX was bailing out Voyager. Now, 4 months later, it's Binance is bailing out Voyager.
What is it going to be in 4 months from now? Who knows?
Yeah, now 4 months from now, there's going to be somebody bailing out Binance, right?
Then
It's not going to happen, but
no.
I'm just expanding on the case that the regulators are making. There you go.
I want to share. I want to talk about one more thing. Uniswap.
Uniswap?
So from CoinDesk, Uniswap wants to launch a crypto wallet app, but Apple says not so fast. Not so fast. And so this is a picture of ETH Denver. Okay. Uniswap Labs is planning to launch a mobile crypto wallet for iPhone users, but Apple seems to have other ideas. Apple won't yet greenlight our launching. We don't know why. We've responded to their concerns, answered every question, and reiterated that we are 100% compliant with their specifications. This is what a spokesperson for Uniswap Labs told CoinDesk. The iPhone maker Apple has refused to adapt its commerce policies to accommodate some crypto companies and also bans crypto trading apps that don't use, quote, an approved exchange. As a DEX, however, it's unclear if Uniswap could ever meet Apple's approved exchange criteria. So, Forrest, do we need, first and foremost, we're all Apple people. Would you guys be willing to ditch iOS if this continues and dApps and stuff start coming only on Android? My answer is yes. Robin?
My answer is I don't facilitate my transactions via my phone. I do it on my computer. So my personal answer is I don't care.
Because he's Elizabeth Warren. Forrest, what about you?
But now there's a massive market of users that would facilitate all their transactions on their phone, and they have Apple phones. And so it makes sense. It makes life easier for them. Great. Awesome. But that's my personal.
Forrest, would you ditch iOS for Android?
No, but not necessarily because I just love Apple or anything. I just don't facilitate a ton of transactions on mobile. I think it's just dangerous right now. It's just, I don't want to do large transactions on my main phone. I do have like a burner phone that just doesn't get connected to, it just like stays in airplane mode. So it's essentially like a little hard wallet, hot wallet combo. And if I need to facilitate some transactions through some sort of app, whether it be, this is the other part that's confused. I just use that. But the other part that's kind of confusing is like the Phantom wallet is on iOS, MetaMask is on iOS. So I'm not 100% what this is. Like you can go to Phantom on iOS through their app and then like log into Magic Eden and trade some NFTs and whatnot. So not sure what exactly the blocker is here. If anything, I would venture to bet that Apple wants to slow their roll a little bit with giving up maybe a first mover advantage to Uniswap. And I would expect that Apple will probably have some sort of crypto payment system and or exchange inbuilt.
That was my first takeaway.
That's interesting.
That was my first takeaway.
So they're purposely saying no because they might be working on something.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Interesting. All right.
I'm telling you, man, all you got to do is get that NF chip reader or whatever it is, the little tap payment. Just throw your Bitcoin wallet or throw Bitcoin into your Apple wallet. It's already kind of set up. It's already digital. It's prime and ready to go, man. All you got to do is just slot in that Bitcoin. And that's it, man. It's off to the races, man.
And who else is prime and ready to go? We are, as we're signing off. Forrest, thank you as always, my friend. We appreciate you joining us. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with? Anything exciting happening? Any new research papers you are working on or something you're excited about?
I'm currently working on hopefully this weekend. I was hoping to get it done today, but it'll probably be this weekend or maybe even Monday. Psychology behind like profit taking and why people like have such a hard time with profit taking. So hopefully it'll help people actually be really applicable to most people's like actual, investing / crypto journey. So that'll be a good one. That's going into the research hub soon in the next couple of days. But Otherwise, historically, the S&P 500, I believe, has an up month in March 67% of the time, up month in April 70% of the time. So we shall see. May is usually not that good. So not saying that's going to hold, but that's been in the back of my mind for a couple days now. And so far, March is rallying. If the S&P 500 and legacy continues to rally, it's going to be hard for crypto to go down. It usually is, unless there's some sort of black swan event. So I see both sides. So, things look ugly, but they also look like we could get a little bit of upside here. So,
and also just
somewhere in between.
Just to add to what you're saying, the JOLTS report is coming out next Wednesday, March 8th. So we're coming up on the Fed meeting, which I believe could be the most important one of the year, because now the CME, the futures, they're thinking 50 basis points is a very good possibility, and I think it's going to set the tone for the rest of the year. So we'll keep our eye on that. Guys, go support Forrest. Go subscribe to his channel on YouTube, Sistine Research. That link is in the description of this video. Also, go follow him on Twitter at 0xstacker. And if you want access to his research hub and Discord and everything Forrest does, and you want to support the channel as well, use the link in the affiliate link in the description of this video. Sign up. It's well worth the money. I can attest to that, even though I didn't spend any because Forrest was kind enough to give me access. But Forrest, thank you so much as always. We appreciate you. Have a great weekend, my friend, and we will see you on Monday.
Good one.
See you guys. Peace. Thanks for having me on. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, brother.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Here's an interesting chart. This is from the CME. I'm glad you brought it up. 70% likelihood via the CME who has yet to been wrong.
25?
For 25. And this was less than 10%, up over 30% on a 50 basis point hike.
We're going to have to watch this on March 8th, Robin, when the JOLTS reports comes out. The job, the turnover, job and labor turnover. So we'll see if that gap is continuing to widen or if it's starting to come back down. But guys, we are done.
I do got a couple new people. Brian Ferris, Ahmad Elkler. Hola. Welcome.
Welcome and goodbye. Go check us out on social media. All of our socials here, there, everywhere. The links are all in the description of this video. Also, don't be cheap. Go buy some merchandise for you, your significant other. If you're a whale member, you get a discount code. Speaking of whale members, shout out to all of our whale members, especially our friend, Crypto Billy, who is in the studio. We're going to go hang out with him for a little bit. So guys, if you're ever in studio, or if you're ever in Vegas and you want to visit us and you're not a weirdo or a big Doge fan, let us know. We would love to host you. With that being said, Rocco.
What is that? I don't see it. I didn't see it. Do it again.
Rocco.
Amazing.
Every time
move
is the
there.
term.
It's,
Come on.
Rocco. Friends, family, friends, and family and friends, we thank you so much for joining us on this amazing Friday. Big shout out to our guest boys. Big shout out to our friend and community member, Crypto Billy, Evan, myself, Robin, Rocco, Billy, and everyone else. We love you. Have a great weekend. We will see you guys on Sunday for the Rant and Rumble stream.
Are we going to the, what is it? The VeChain?
I don't know, because this weekend is crazy, but we will talk about it. Roll the credits, baby. Let's go.
This show would be nothing without your favorite tornado. Just saying.